Greetings Guardians, my name is Bife here. So in previous videos, I've been discussing the power of the Black Fleet with you all. And in those previous videos, we sort of discussed why the Black Fleet is, well, effectively indestructible. We know this thanks to Ashamir's research, and we understand that in order to challenge them, we must be able to exert a degree of paracausal force. In some manner or another, we will be able to only stop the pyramids in this way. So our conventional arsenal of weapons is probably not going to have any effect. However, there is one incident that is of paramount importance when it comes to discussing this topic. That incident, as Hidden Records would call it, is known as Incident Number 12059. But it might be better understood as an incident that led to our knowledge of a moment where Mara Sov, Queen of the Awoken, might have just destroyed a pyramid ship. Buckle in. This one gets wild. So first things first, what do you need to know about all of this to help understand it all? Well, first of all, you need to know about the Hidden, more specifically the Hidden member involved in this incident. If you've ever heard Tess Everis at the tower wittering on about her Uncle Fenchurch and all the weird things he finds, well, yeah, she's right. And we know that because this incident is very much one of those moments, and it tells us about a thing that he found. He is, in fact, a hidden agent, and his hidden identifier number is 092, and the story reported on in incident number 12059 is one that takes place on Luna. We first saw this story crop up in the Stolen Intelligence lawbook from the season of the Drifter. The one last really important thing to know before starting this is that the Hidden have identifier numbers also for major characters in the system. Our player character Guardian, for example, is VIP number 2014. Oryx the Taken King is VIP number 2015. This entry contains references to a certain VIP number 0704. Before we start, you should know that this VIP 0704 is Mara Sov. This is all going to seem a little meandering at first, but it is important to understand the greater picture. This is what happened on the incident according to the report. Access restricted. Report number 12059, Incident Luna. Agents, Fenchurch 092. Subject, affidavit regarding incident number 12059. 1. Last week I was deployed by Ikora for routine surveillance of the quarantine zone outside the Hellmouth. Hive populations remain low and grow even lower thanks to the efforts of a small contingent of veteran Guardians who have made their homes on Luna. 2. Around 1900 hours yesterday afternoon, I began to experience a crushing headache and excused myself from patrol to recuperate. Though I originally intended to lay down for a nap, I fell asleep instead and experienced multiple vivid dreams over the next 11.5 hours. In all of these dreams, I was trying to catch up with Agent Eris in a crowd. She was always out of reach, whether by 200 meters or 20 meters. I had the sense that I needed to speak to her. 3. When I woke, I found my headache had not improved. I prepared my armor and exited my bivouac to find a single stationary thrall crouched nearby. It stood as I approached but made no motion to attack me. I fired one shot, killing it immediately. Upon stepping forward to examine its corpse, I saw a solid black fragment of an unknown material embedded in its chest cavity. The fragment resembled a flake or a shard of some larger object, not dissimilar to a high-gain photovoltaic panel. 4. I requested that my ghost perform a standard material analysis on the fragment, but neither of us could confidently identify its qualities or provenance. That analysis is attached to this report as analysis number 1. 5. I requested that my ghost attempt to contain and transmat the fragment for quarantine on my jump ship. He was unable to establish a light link with the object, describing the fragment as slippery and tiring to try to catch hold of. 6. I used the barrel of my sniper rifle to touch and then work the fragment out of the thrall's corpse. Using my rifle, I turned the fragment over and examined it from multiple angles. I requested my ghost run another deep scan of the object. That analysis is attached to this report as analysis number 2. 7. We concluded that the material seemed to be inert, and that it did not seem to be part of any complex device or mechanism. 8. At this point, I broke protocol and did not request additional backup. Instead, I picked up the fragment by hand and immediately experienced a vivid hallucination. I stood over VIP 0704's shoulder as she dressed a 7-inch gash on Agent Eris's thigh. Both 0704 and Eris were dressed for combat. Hundreds of fragments of the unknown material hung in the air around us, apparent shrapnel from the wreckage of a nearby ship of unrecognizable make and model. Eris looked directly towards me and said, "Patetichskoya." As a small interjection, that means pathetic in Russian. 9. The duration of the hallucination was approximately 7 seconds. At its conclusion, my headache disappeared. My ghost and I held our position for the next 30 minutes, then collected the body of the thrall and the fragment for transportation. I delivered myself and my cargo to quarantine and experienced no further mental disturbances while detained. Message ends. So at the time being, this report was totally an oddity, and it was extremely mysterious. We had no idea what was going on. We didn't know if this was significant or just one of those interesting backstories in Destiny. Now, however, we have a greater perspective. The vision that Fenchurch Everis experienced is significant because of the fact that we now know that the material he touched was a fragment of a pyramid ship. If Mara Sov and Eris Morn were also surrounded by similar debris in this entry, and if that was indeed the wreckage of a pyramid ship, then there is perhaps a moment where we can verify that a pyramid ship of the Black Fleet was destroyed within the bounds of the system by Mara Sov. We know some of this to be true thanks to Fenchurch's later follow-up after he contacted Eris Morn personally about the matter. The transcript of his report to Ikora is below, as well as Ikora's reply, and it tells us more of what we learned here. We also have a few moments where there's some odd bits and pieces, so I will interject occasionally with this report. It reads as follows. Access restricted. Report number 12059, Instant Lunar Follow-up. Agents, Fenchurch 092. Subject, follow-up on affidavit for instant number 12059. 1. Fenchurch and Neville reporting in. I've finally been able to sit Eris down for a few moments and ask her about the vision I experienced on Luna. See my affidavit regarding number 12059. In short, I saw VIP 0704 tending to Eris's wound in the wreckage of a destroyed vessel. This was prior to the discovery of the pyramid on Luna. I now believe the wreckage was from a ship of the same type, one of the intruders that presaged the disappearance of Mars, Io, Titan, and Mercury. 2. Eris was reticent to discuss whether the events in my vision had actually occurred. I expressed my frustration with her evasiveness given the distance I had traveled and my well-established loyalties. Eris invoked the threat of Savathun as a reason to favor secrecy. I asked whether she had been too much influenced by VIP 0704's habit of distrust. She did not reply. As a social gesture, I offered to share my pineapple fried rice, which caused her tremendous distress. After collecting the remnants of the meal, I left. Okay, so let me interject here. The reason why Eris is extremely distressed by the offering of pineapple fried rice is because during the season of arrivals, she was learning to cook with her wok on Io and ended up trying to cook this exact dish. It's really uncanny for Fenchurch to have mentioned this in the same proximity to Eris when she is dealing directly with the darkness and Savathun. So yeah, that's a big old red flag for Eris when anything like that is mentioned, especially when she has the idea that someone may be spying on her. Anyway, to continue onwards. 3. Later that day, Eris approached me to apologize and attempted the conversation again. I was moved and allowed her to open the topic on her own terms. After an elliptical conversation regarding the emotional burden of her role as a constant harbinger of the worst to come, Eris confirmed that my vision had actually occurred. According to Eris's account, during the time between the Tangled Shore crisis and the discovery of the Lunar Pyramid, VIP-0704 was in contact with VIP-0101 regarding the approaching intruders. VIP number 0101, familiar with the difficulties of recursing time loops, urged number 0704 to break out of the Dreaming City and move against the intruders. In 0101's past timeline, or timelines, I'm not convinced she has been entirely truthful about how she moves between times. It would make sense for her to protect her method of transit given the scale of betrayal she has witnessed. The Awoken never broke Savathun's curse on the Dreaming City, and 0704 expended vital resources there, which were solely missed during the latter stages of the conflict. As a quick note to interject here, VIP number 0101 is the Exo Stranger, aka Elsie Bray, who we know has been in somewhat close contact with both Eris Morn and Mara Sov. Anyway, continuing onwards. 5. VIP-0704 was reluctant to leave her people, but decided, as Eris put it, that it was better to do something than nothing, even if that something was the wrong thing to do. VIP-0704 struck a deal with 0101. 0101 would provide data that a future Rasputin had used to track intruder ships, and 0704 would provide the raw paracausal power that Rasputin lacked. Eris was involved because 0704 had recently extracted her from Crota's abandoned throne world and felt an emotional debt to 0704 over past service regarding the defeat of VIP 2015. This was fortuitous. Again, remember that VIP number 2015 is Oryx, the Taken King, and Eris absolutely helped us destroy Oryx, which in turn helped to free Mara Sov from servitude as one of his Taken, allowing her to freely return to her people. 6. VIP number 0704 exploited past traffic with the Nine as well as her own personal experience with the intruder's stealth capabilities to disperse an array of synthetic aperture mass growl observatories, coordinated by AICOM XBLK and possibly other deep-orbit AI systems. The observatories used future technology provided by 0101 to localize an interloper ship near the dwarf planet 136199 Eris. Eris was not amused by this coincidence. I induced she was actually quite disturbed. 7. VIP-0704 refused to deploy any Awoken fleet assets or fallen mercenaries in the confrontation, and even excluded her own Techians from the planning. Eris suggests, with what I view as some protectiveness, that 0704 felt it was time for the burden of sacrifice to fall on her rather than upon her citizens or pawns. The journey to 136199 Eris was very difficult for Eris. VIP-0704 had charged herself with some metaphysical quality salvaged from VIP number 2015, which made it extremely difficult for Eris to tolerate her presence. VIP number 0704 was reticent and snappish, probably lingering trauma from her death in the similar battle at Saturn. Whatever transpired between them remains private. 8. Eris was unwilling to precisely describe the encounter with the intruder. It did not react to their presence as they matched orbits. VIP-0704 went on EVA and at one point removed her suit. I believe, but am not certain, that number 0704 either contacted or entered the intruder. Whatever happened next led to VIP-0704's death. It is unclear to me whether the intruder was at all damaged or whether the debris field I saw on the surface of 136199 Eris was related to this encounter. 9. Eris recalled VIP number 0704 from her throne by Hive ritual, which required both women to confront Savathun/Dul at great personal risk. The two then descended to the surface of Eris to explore the wreckage there. There was an instant, it may have been an attack or an accident caused by volatile debris, or by interaction with 136199 Eris's frozen methane surface, and Eris was badly wounded. Although Eris has techniques to survive in hostile environments, they were disrupted, and she was exposed to near vacuum. VIP number 0704 deployed a shelter and treated the wounds in what I interpolate was a moment of reconciliation and perhaps genuine tenderness between them. Eris attempted to show me the scar, although I declined. At this point, concerned that they might not survive to make a report, Eris imprinted a log of their journey on a fragment of debris and transmitted it to Luna via Hive manifold, along with a compulsion for any lesser Hive to bring the fragment to a Guardian. This is how it came to me. 10. I am left with more questions. Was the presence of a debris field on the surface totally unrelated to the ship in orbit? If it was related, did VIP 0704 destroy it? And if so, why has she not shared this capability with us? Faced with the skepticism and distrust of so many Guardians, a distrust that has persisted despite 0101's report that in multiple possible futures, 0704 died fighting alongside our forces in the final reckoning, surely 0704 would want to advertise her victory. If she did destroy that pyramid ship, was it a one-off event that she will be unable to reproduce? Perhaps she has to physically contact a pyramid to destroy it, and the pyramids have now rendered this impossible. Or perhaps she approached in disguise of VIP number 2015, a disguise that is now compromised. VIP number 0704 remains a difficult and inscrutable ally. Message ends. Following up from these revelations that Mara might have destroyed one of the Black Fleet's pyramid ships, Ikora Rey responded with the following. Message reply from Ikora 006 to Fenchurch 092. Mara is a thorny problem. Understand that she sees herself as a queen on a chessboard. Opposite her stands Savathun. They are in a war of understanding. Who will get to the truth of the other first? In this war, honesty is fatal. Giving the enemy accurate information about you helps them remove degrees of freedom from their model of you. It helps them come a little closer to perfectly predicting you. Savathun would delight to see Mara taken. Mara would certainly see Savathun dead and extinguished. Secrets and encryption are central to Mara's philosophy, and so too to the entire Awoken consciousness. She is their Lucifer, their Melekteos, or Feanor, the one who led a bloody exodus from heaven to fight for the mortal world. Remember the words of their scripture. Creation is built on secrets and the encryptions that keep those secrets safe. If Mara botches her endgame against Savathun and against the entity that she believes rules in darkness, all of the sacrifices she's made will be for nothing. And she knows, thanks to Elsie, that in many possible futures, her sacrifices were in vain. She knows she was betrayed by her own friend, Eris Morn. You see why it's so hard for her to trust? She entrusted her very life to Eris, and yet even Eris turned against her, in one possible world. Mara will never tell the truth when she can afford to lie. She will never act directly when she can afford to move a pawn. But the opposite is also true. She will never lie when she can afford to tell the truth. She just rarely considers it safe to do so. If your enemy knows how the bomb works, they can disarm it. I believe Mara has begun to consider that she may not be the prime executor of her own endgame. She may be just one component of the bomb, a payload or a timing device. At the end of her own journey, she is necessary but not sufficient. She can no longer fight alone. Reply ends. So this final message tells us the reasons why it will be hard to confirm if Mara actually is able to destroy the pyramid ships or not. She is still an enigma and she will intend to keep it that way. If she is capable of summoning the paracausal force necessary to destroy a pyramid ship, then she is clearly the mightiest force in the system, with perhaps the exception of the Witness itself. If that is true, then she would want to keep that capability a secret. It may also have been the case that this was only a one-time occurrence that was only possible thanks to some culmination of power, or perhaps the guise that was being spoken of, where she was trying to disguise herself potentially as Oryx. Or maybe none of this is true, and Fenchurch's assessment that the debris field might not have been related to the ship in orbit is correct. Right now, we just can't tell. But as it stands, this is one of the most valuable accounts as to one of our allies potentially destroying a pyramid. My recommendation? Listen out to Eris's stories about Mara. In the future, we may learn the truth. And if she can destroy a pyramid ship, then our alliance with the Awoken is more valuable than it has ever been seen to be. But that's all from me for now. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you want more Destiny lore content, remember that you can hit subscribe and the bell next to subscribe. Also, tell me what you think in the comments section down below. Do you think Mara actually destroyed a pyramid ship? If so, why isn't she doing it again? What's your take on all this? Thank you so much for watching though, and do know that as per usual, your viewership is quite enough for me. And that in the meantime, my name is Byf. Per audacia ad astra. I'll see you, Starside.